Motivation is emotional. Discipline is mechanical. That difference sounds obvious. Most traders still get it wrong. Motivation rises and falls. It spikes after a win. It disappears after a loss. It evaporates the moment conditions stop feeling favorable. If your discipline depends on motivation, you don't have discipline. You have mood-based compliance. You follow rules when it feels easy. You break them when it feels justified. And you call both experience. That's not discipline. That's convenience. Real discipline does not care how you feel. It does not ask for permission. It does not wait for alignment. It executes because the rule exists. Most traders don't actually want discipline. They want control. They want a system that works when they feel confident and bends when they don't. They want structure that adapts to their emotions instead of structure that ignores them. That's why discipline gets rebranded as motivation, because motivation feels good. Discipline feels restrictive. Motivation tells you you're capable. Discipline reminds you you're limited, and most people hate being reminded of their limits, so they chase motivation instead. They watch content. They listen to speeches. They tell themselves tomorrow will be different, not because tomorrow has better conditions, but because they hope tomorrow brings a better mood. That's the trap. Discipline that relies on emotional readiness will collapse under pressure every time, because the market applies pressure by design. Losing days happen, drawdowns happen, uncertainty is constant. If your execution changes with your emotional state, then your results will too, and not randomly, predictably. This is why most traders look disciplined in hindsight and reckless in real time. They don't lack information. They lack a structure that survives discomfort. They confuse wanting consistency with being built for it. Discipline is not something you summon. It's something you submit to. It does not motivate. It restricts. It removes options. It narrows behavior. It limits what you're allowed to do, even when you disagree. That's why it works, and that's why most people quietly avoid it while claiming they want it. Today is not about becoming more motivated. That idea is useless. Today is about understanding why discipline feels heavy, unforgiving, and emotionally cold, and why that coldness is the cost of consistency. Most traders rely on willpower. They don't say it out loud, but that's what they're doing. They believe that in the moment, when pressure rises, they'll choose correctly. That belief is false. Willpower is not a resource you can depend on. It drains. It fluctuates. It degrades under stress. And trading is sustained stress. Every decision costs something. Every chart glance chips away at restraint. Every near miss taxes attention. By the time the real decision arrives, willpower is already compromised. Rules don't have this problem. Rules don't get tired. They don't negotiate. They don't care how many losses you've taken today. They don't soften because you feel due. That's why rules work and willpower doesn't. If you need motivation to follow your plan isn't enforced. It's optional. And anything optional gets ignored the moment it becomes uncomfortable. Most traders build plans that require them to feel disciplined in order to execute. That's backwards. Discipline is not a feeling, it's a constraint. Discipline works best when it removes choice, not guides it, not suggests, removes it. Choice is where emotion enters. The moment you are allowed to decide, you are also allowed to rationalize, and the human brain is very good at rationalizing when money and ego are involved. Choice invites emotion. Emotion invites exceptions. Just this once. Conditions are slightly different. This still fits the idea. I don't want to miss it. None of those sentences come from logic. They come from discomfort, and the brain's primary goal under discomfort is not correctness. It's relief. So it bends the rule just enough to act while still feeling responsible. That's how bad habits form. Not through chaos, through controlled exceptions. Over time, the trader starts believing they're being flexible, adaptive, experienced. In reality, They're just leaking discipline in small, invisible amounts. Until one day the rules exist only on paper and execution is driven entirely by mood. That's why rule-based systems fail in the hands of emotional traders. Not because the rules are bad, but because the system still relies on willpower. A real rule does not ask, "Do you feel like following me?" It answers, "You don't get to decide." If your plan requires you to check your emotional state before executing, it's already compromised. The market does not reward self-control, it exploits lapses in it. That's why the goal is not to become stronger, it's to become less involved, less choice, less interpretation, less internal debate. When rules remove choice, emotion has nowhere to attach. And when emotion has nowhere to attach, execution becomes repeatable. Not easy, repeatable. This is what traders misunderstand. They think discipline is about effort. It isn't. It's about designing behavior that does not depend on effort at all. Professionals don't ask, "Do I feel like trading?" They ask, "Is this allowed?" Amateurs negotiate. Professionals execute. Every time you debate with your rules, emotion already won. Rule for today. If a rule is breakable, it's useless. A rule that allows debate is not a rule. It's a preference. And preferences disappear the moment pressure shows up. Most traders don't design rules to be followed. They design rules that sound reasonable, rules that leave room, rules that allow interpretation, rules that can be bent just this once. That flexibility feels mature, it feels intelligent. It's also exactly where emotion enters. The moment you are allowed to override a rule, ego will convince you it knows when to do it better than the system. And it will sound calm, logical, experienced. That's how discipline dies quietly. Real rules are restrictive by design. They remove choice at the moment. Choice becomes dangerous. If you can debate a rule, you will lose the debate when money is on the line. So the goal isn't to become better at following rules. That's effort-based and fragile. The goal is to build rules you cannot argue with, rules that don't care how you feel, rules that don't adjust for confidence or fear, rules that execute whether you like them or not. That's not empowering. It's limiting, and that's why it works. Tomorrow we talk about losses and why taking them personally is the fastest way to destroy discipline.